Well, hello there. Welcome back, everyone, after intermission. Again, thank you guys for communicating to me via text. We've heard issues with the sound where we did some tweaking to work on it. Hopefully it's better. But also, you have our friends over at Stratosphere to thank for the noise coming on the other wall. Stratosphere was actually a finalist at last year's Carroll Biz Challenge. So they're to blame for this. Maybe it's revenge because they didn't win, but that's okay. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed some wonderful food from Chili's and great conversation. But to get us kicked off for the second half of our program, I thought it would be a really, really good idea to see what the winner of the 2013 Carroll Biz Challenge is up to. Please join me in welcoming Dawn Pritchard to the stage. She's always so much fun. You're the only person to date to have a lobster in your presentation in a pitch about lavender.
If you're going to ask me for advice to give to the other contestants, and I would have definitely went with lobsters.
It was a good theme. It was definitely, it worked for you. Hey, it worked. It only is weird if it doesn't work.
It was either the lobster or Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, either one. But anyway, you were the winner of the Carroll Biz Challenge 2013. I still remember like it was yesterday when I announced your name and I saw your smile, and it was like you erupted in excitement. It was it was awesome. But before we get to where you are today, I want to go back to where you were. So I know over a year and a half ago, Silver Linings Lavender Farm, which is now in operation, was just an idea that you had. So why did you enter the Carroll Biz Challenge?
It was an idea, but it's hard to talk and then hear myself, so sorry. It was an idea and something that I knew I was going to get into eventually, but this was really the kick in the butt that I needed to go for it.
Very good. So you're pitching, basically hear about this, you say, hey, what the heck, why not? I'm going to go ahead and do this thing. So tell us about some of the things you did to prepare and submit your application, particularly you were a finalist. And so tell us about your journey, your story, maybe some of the resources that you used to turn that idea into an actionable business plan.
Well, I knew even if I didn't win, I was going to pursue it. So I dove right in. And I did all the research that I needed to do and knew what I was talking about when I got up on stage.
And so I know one of the resources used along the way is one that you can't ever talk to me about entrepreneurship in Carroll without hearing about the Carroll Business Path. So tell me about that meeting you had with the Business Path. Was it helpful?
I'm a gardener. I work with plants. I don't know anything about business at all. But I know I can be an entrepreneur and do business, but I didn't know where to start. So I met with John Wheatman. Where's he at? Yay! And he told me where to start, which everyone needs a starting point. And he gave me all the information and where I need to go and step by step. And I did all of those. Step by step by step by step by step.
That's very, very cool. So through the Carroll Biz, within 4 months, you went from 0 to 1,000,000 miles per hour because you were the winner. So what did you do after winning the Carroll Biz Challenge?
It was funny because it's November and Cyber Monday sales start in just a week. So I got this big, giant $5,000 check. I tried to put it in through the drive-through, but it didn't work. So I did find a way to access the money, and I went crazy buying all the things that I needed to start the business online, Cyber Monday. Yay! It's fun shopping with that kind of money. So I bought everything I needed, the printer, the supplies, the whole business. Everything you see out there, it started from that $5,000 check. I also spent it on some very important things. if I was going to do a business, I was going to do it right. So I hired a business lawyer. I got a marketing plan from Vox Pop. Thank you, guys. And I made sure that I was going to have every, what's the way to put it? I wanted to get off to a good start.
All of your ducks in a row is the way I would say it.
Ducks, lobsters. I had all of my lobsters in a row.
Very, very good. Now, I know that your business obviously is bigger than a $5,000 enterprise. So tell us about some of the other things. In addition, the $5,000 helped you to buy the materials you needed to start producing lavender products. But tell us about the actual farm, which is kind of the full realization of your dream.
The products are fun and they help me continue with the business. But like I had explained to the judges, the ultimate goal is the farm that'll people will be able to come to and enjoy, and I'll be able to go to and enjoy fields of lavender. So I've put a lot of effort into trying to find the right place, and I found a really nice place. It's beautiful with an 1848 barn and a secret garden, and I fell in love with it. And I contacted the mortgage company, and I did everything they asked me to do. I got the business plan, I got the marketing plan, I found 25% to put down, I got investors, I got everything they asked me to do, and it took about 5 months to happen, and then they denied me anyway. So I was pretty devastated at that point, but luckily I had somebody step up and said that they would take care of it. So they offered to buy the property and lease it to me. So they put the offer in on the property, and somebody beat them by a day.
So why did you keep going? You know,
because I'm tenacious like a mosquito.
I like that. I like that. That's enough said. You're tenacious like a mosquito. That's why you kept up the hustle. All right, so what is the future for Silver Linings Lavender Farm?
Well, because I jumped through all those hoops, now I have all those things. So the farm was not the farm that I wanted, but it's the farm that I needed to get me where I'm at. So even though I've had all these setbacks, like a game of chutes and ladders, like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and then you look back and you realize you're still 10 steps forward from last year. So I'm glad that I realized that that's a benefit.
Very good. So what are just some advice that you would give to the entrepreneurs who are here tonight or who are listening to this on TV?
Well, I think the most important thing to realize is your faults, what you're not good at. I am horrible at bookkeeping, and if I tried to do that myself, I would have bombed. So I found somebody super awesome, thanks Anna, to take care of that for me. And I'm gonna take care of her. So find somebody to fill in your gaps and appreciate that person. Pay them every cent they ask for, because they're gonna keep you afloat. Oh, and keep a sense of humor, because they tell you that being an entrepreneur is super hard and it's gonna be stressful, but you have no idea. Like, you can say, yeah, I'm prepared for the stress. Like, no, it's gonna be really hard. Keep a sense of humor and keep that little mosquito in your head. Be the mosquito. Is that like a be the mosquito?
That could be a new thing. You could make that. That sounds like the title of a best-selling business book. So be tenacious like a mosquito. I could see it.
Any publishers in the house?
There we go. All right. Well, Dawn, you certainly are an inspiration to entrepreneurs in Carroll County, and you certainly epitomize why we do the Carroll Biz Challenge. And so I'm going to do a shameless plug for her. She has a table out in the lobby area, and she has her full retail line for sale. It is Christmas time. Women love this stuff. So for guys, get your credit card out and fill up a large bag full of lavender products.
Real quick, I've had many men say to me, I love lavender. They always whisper it,
Don't
so
ever say it out loud.
men love it too.
Very good. Well, Dawn, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Mike Gibble, CEO of Gibble Enterprises Holdings, which is a diversified holdings company and initial stage venture capital firm. Essentially, we create, invest in, acquire, merge, evolve, and sell businesses. The companies currently in our portfolio include Fusion, a business consultation firm looking to take every client to the next level. The Zenith Capital Fund, a private equity fund that is approved for every and all investors. The Innovative Tap Solutions, the industry leader in self-serve beer tap technology. You may have seen this company featured on Bar Rescue, CNBC, and Bloomberg News. And we also have a sales partnership with Solar City, who we believe has the business model to take solar energy to everybody who owns a home. Gibble Enterprises Holdings is proud to be a founding sponsor of the 2014 Carroll Biz Challenge.
Please hold until, there we go. Man, I thought I was in Clockwork Orange for a moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I dreaming? Am I really at a business competition? All right. Man, that was freaky. All right, I'm gonna take a moment. Does someone wanna, can I get a sub? I need to tap out here for a moment. I gotta get someone in here. Anyway. All right, so it is now time to get back into the pitches. All right, so all of you dog lovers in the crowd tonight will be tremendously excited about our next finalist plan to bring a K9 sports complex to Carroll County. Please join me in welcoming Marta Corsi, the entrepreneur behind Carroll K9 Sports Complex, to the stage.
Woman with that dog at the end of the leash, screaming and barking at other people. I had no clue what to do. She was sweet and wonderful and gentle at home, but outside, she was crazy. So I was lucky enough to find dog training, and through that, dog sports, and through that, I became a dog trainer. Well, that's all great, but why do you care? I'm going to show you why you should care. But first, before I get started on the project, I want to show you what dog sports are. So a quick video, I hope. So our proposal is to bring all those events to Carroll County. That was just a small amount of the types of events that there are. In fact, there are so many that if you wanted to, you could do a dog sport every day of the week and weekends, and believe it or not, I know people that do. So our proposal is to build a 200 by 250 building, which would be big enough for 2 agility rings, 8 conformation rings, or 8 obedience rings. It would also be big enough for any other type of sport that we would want. Currently, facilities are renting for about $5,000 a weekend. We would propose to do it for about $4,000 a weekend, at a minimum of 26 weekends per year, giving us about $100,000. In addition, there would be a local dog training business that would also rent the building, so that would be additional revenue for the building. The number of dog sport events continue to increase. Agility events alone last year increased over 52%, and entries increased over 48%. empty nesters, who are us baby boomer type people, are now utilizing that discretionary income that they used to spend on their kids. They're now spending it on their dogs. By offering a business such as the one proposed, we can bring out-of-town competitors into the community who would be using our local amenities, restaurants, hotels, etc. So at a minimum, that you can see from the slide, that's a lot of bucks to come into Carroll County. And that's just the competitors, and that's just the minimum 26 weekends a year. We, of course, could have way more weekends than that. And that's just for the competitors. That doesn't include the judges or the workers for the event. The second benefit also involves saving money for the community. Studies have shown that dogs that have training actually are less likely to go to shelters and therefore be euthanized. So that's money saved from the community having to put the dogs in the shelters. According to the CDC, the incidence of dog bites are also on the increase. Most of those bites are from family pets and to children. So by educating children on how to interact with other with dogs, we would be decreasing the amount of bites in the community. In conclusion, a canine sports complex in Carroll County would not only benefit the people, but the businesses of Carroll County. I want to introduce my co-presenter and moral support here. Her name is Reese. You can see from her slide all the titles that she has. She's a very accomplished agility competitor. So she's really here to say to you, please vote for a canine sports complex. Thank you very much.
Very good. Awesome. Tony, why don't you take the first question?
So let me ask you, how many do you have to take in to make it even for the weekend, to kind of make a profit?
At this time, we don't have this facility built, so we don't have all those numbers in a row. However, most facilities that host these type of events definitely make a profit.
What's the average price?
To rent?
Well, no, for each participant.
For each participant, the average run is about $20.
Okay, and like I've gone to Ocean City and they've had like certain breeds and competitions and things like that. Is that what you're looking to do?
Not just that.
Okay.
That's just one aspect. What most of us do is dog agility, which is huge. It's very, very popular, and it just grows and grows and grows. And that, there are fewer competitors, but we pay more.
And it's only on the weekend, so you don't do anything during the week, no private lessons?
Oh, no, there would be private lessons. There would be group classes from the dog training business.
Okay.
Verging off of Tony's question, the facility, the startup costs, you need a site, you need parking, you need the facility. Do you have any idea what that would cost?
The facility we have a cost about $1.3 million. We have not priced the property yet. We've looked, but we haven't found an appropriate property as yet.
So it'll all be custom?
It'll all be cost.
I'm sorry, but do you do events at Carroll indoor now?
We used to.
Okay.
That is very rarely used anymore. It was felt that the surface there was not appropriate for the dogs. They were slipping, people were slipping. Dogs were becoming injured.
From a competitor standpoint, not talking about the people who bring their dogs, talking about your competition if you bring a facility here to Carroll. Who are in the region, who are in the Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey areas?
Currently, most of the, at least agility events, are held at Frederick Indoor Sports Center. That is not a dog-specific place. It's a regular sports center. So most of those events would hopefully move here. Other than that, there is a facility in Lewisberry, but it's not very big. There's also another facility in Leesburg, Virginia, but also not very big.
What type of staff do you need? How many folks to run the facility?
Usually for events, those people come in. They're trial secretaries. They actually run the actual event. So it would be only someone to support the facility itself. And since there would be the dog training business in there, they could actually run the facility.
How would you market? Oh, sorry.
Go right ahead there.
How would you market?
That would be easy. Most people are not very happy where they are right now, and so the clubs and actually trial secretaries are very interested in moving those trials here. We have a lot of support in the agility community. We also have support from Carroll Kennel Club. They're also interested in this as well.
But when you market, how would you do that? Just like individually clubs, or would you put ads? Would you go to, convention? What would you do?
The trial secretaries are the ones that convince the clubs where to go and where to hold their events. So having them on board is definitely going to get the clubs on board.
We have a question from the audience. So where are you going to raise the money you need for this facility? Are you going to tap into that network, go to the bank? What are you planning on doing?
Yes.
Yes, all of the above.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We have people that are interested in investing, but we'll also obviously need help from the bank, etc.
You mentioned training and the competition. Any other flexibility for the facility for instance, maybe housing the puppies for a certain period of time,
No.
a veterinarian, something?
We would like to bring in complementary medicine, shall you say, for dogs. My own dogs get chiropractic and massaged. I don't, but they do.
I don't even get that.
Acupuncture. It's huge, especially with people in dog sports. They absolutely pay money for their dogs that they don't pay for themselves.
Sorry, is this on? You mentioned 26 weeks.
That was the minimum.
Because I did some preliminary things today just to kind of estimate. I mean, I would think that excluding holiday weekends, you could probably do this 45 weeks a year.
Absolutely.
45 weekends?
I was just using minimum numbers.
Yeah, because I ran some numbers and it seemed like without any dog training, you're looking at $150,000 to $270,000 just running on weekends.
I was being conservative.
Okay.
Very good. That's all we have time for. Great job, Marta. And thank you to little Reese. She ran off. She was so quick I missed her. Marta, do you have the clicker? Don't worry, I won't press charges. That was a really bad joke. All right, our next finalist just opened his doors this summer and plans to be the destination for runners in Carroll County to purchase the premium running gear and get expert advice to run happier and healthier. Please join me in welcoming Steve Moore, owner of Run More, to the stage.
You noticed. Hi, good evening. I'm Steve Moore. I'm the owner of Run More, located in historic downtown Westminster. I'm an avid runner. I've been running competitively for 20 years. I was fortunate enough to run at the high school level, the collegiate level, and also coached high school cross country and track. It's been my passion all my life. The idea to open my own running store came back in February of this year. My wife had just given birth to our second son, and during that time, I desperately needed a pair of running shoes. I just didn't have the time to drive 45 minutes each way out of the county to go to a specialty running store and talk to somebody who knew about running shoes and running apparel and did gait analysis. And so with that, the idea to open Run More was born. We proudly opened our doors on August 22nd. We had the mayor and some members of the Chamber of Commerce and some people there from the Carroll Business Pathway who were so instrumental in helping us open our doors. So we're currently in the second running boom. Last year we had 19 million Americans finish at least one 5K of an organized race. Of that, 82% will get a running-related injury that will force them to miss some training. It's a pretty staggering number. The good news is a lot of those injuries are preventable. A lot of those injuries are preventable had they gone to a store or talked to somebody who knew a little bit about their running history. So if you were to go into a large box store, if you were going to go into, let's just say, like a Dick's, you might not know the difference between these two shoes. They look very similar, but in fact, they're very different shoes. So a good example, last night, I had somebody come into our store who was a collegiate runner who we went through the gait analysis. I put her up on my treadmill. I recorded her form. I talked to her a little about her history. I was able to identify a problem in the shoes that she'd been wearing. From that, I guessed some nagging chronic injuries she may have been having. I was right. She was running a shoe similar to the one on the left when she should have been in the shoe on the right. Looks simple, the shoes looked similar, but in fact, she needed a neutral shoe. She's running in a stability shoe. It's forcing her body and foot to roll outward unnecessarily. This is causing strain on her hip and IT band. So she ended up walking out of the store with a pair of shoes that was correct for her form and an IT and a foam roller to help prevent her IT inflammation. In addition to what we're doing in this store, we have been partnered up with a local running group called Flying Feet here in the town. We've been meeting up twice a week, and from that group, we've joined a subgroup called the Run More Training Group that helps new runners get into the sport. So I work with them, talk to them once a week, we run twice a week, and this past Saturday, bundled up and ran the Terry Burke Memorial 5K right in Westminster. Some of the members of this group had never run before joining the group, and after 10 weeks, everybody completed the 5K, and it was a great experience all around. We also put on our own cross-country race last month, and that went great, and we have permission to make that an annual event. By doing these running groups, by putting on events of our own, we're able to grow our market. We're able to introduce new people to running that may not have found it at an early age like I was lucky enough to. So if we're lucky enough to be chosen to be the 2014 Carroll Business Champions, we'd like to take that money to help increase our advertisement. Like I said, we've been open now for almost 3 months, and the hard part still is people coming in not knowing we're there. We do a great job online. We're represented in a small local magazine, but we need to take it to the next level, get our name out there with the Carroll County Times and WTTR, and make sure everybody knows we're there in Carroll County, and we'll help you with complimentary gait analysis and help match your stride for the shoe that's made for you. Thank you guys so much.
Very good, Steve.
Besides the advertising in the papers and everything, what else is your marketing brand? In my opinion, everything that draws sweat, you should be at.
Correct. So we were also the sponsors already of the Bachman Valley Half Marathon. We've partnered up with Westminster's Parks and Rec to be involved in the Jingle Bell Run, which is a kids' run that's tied in to the Winterfest in the next 2 weeks. We are the bib and packet pickup for Girls on the Run, so we've already gone out to do some of that good sweat equity, doing some volunteer work, and making sure, like you said, we're at every event where there's somebody with a bib on, they're thinking Run More, they're going to see my smiling face, and seeing our logo,
Smile.
and know that we're out here.
I have a question. In terms of like customers, how long does a running shoe last, and how many times is that customer going to be a repeat customer in terms of being a long-term investment in your business?
Sure. A lot of that depends on how much you're running and the type of shoes that you're running in. You know, so when I'm talking to somebody, I say, what is your goal for this shoe? What type of mileage are you putting in? A typical everyday training shoe should average 300 to 500 miles. You don't go by time, you go by miles. A racing shoe, you might get 200 miles out of. So it sort of depends on what you're doing. And when someone's walking out the door, we make sure we have that conversation with them to know, so they know when they should be expecting to look for that next pair. And I'm happy to say we've seen some recidivism already. We've had some of our initial customers have come back in and bought a new pair of shoes.
I have a question. So you're marketing, you want to market it out because it sounds like they can buy these shoes anywhere. It's you and your knowledge that you want to pass forward. So in a marketing plan, how do you pass that forward so people understand what its difference between you and Foot Locker and anybody else?
Sure, it really, like I said, it comes back to the gait analysis and the knowledge in the store. What actually plays into my hand is that I don't get to set any of the prices on the shoes I carry. A big box store like a Foot Locker or a Dick's may have some of the same brands I have. They can't sell it for a penny less than me, and I've gone in and looked. So if you know I'm there and you know you can talk to somebody who knows shoes, is interested in you running long term, and it's not costing you anymore, I'll take that any day. I'll take that fight all day long.
That's what I'd like to see is more the you on the advertising because you is what makes this business. The shoes are a part of it, but you are all of it.
Yeah, we actually just signed up to do some advertisement with 2 gyms because as we're getting into that cold season, people are hibernating into the gyms. So we are starting to be featured at Planet Fitness in Westminster and Merit Athletics here in Eldersburg. So twice an hour, you're going to see, again, the smiling face up on every single TV in the gym, in the shower room, in the check-in. So people will say, you're running, you need to come see Steve.
Now, are you doing anything with the Westminster Park, like the city park, or doing any events or anything like that in the future?
Yeah, we'd like to. So again, we put on a 5K in Mount Airy, and we've already been in talks with Parks and Rec to do an event next year. That's going to be more Westminster.
Yeah, I would love to see that. And welcome to Main Street. We love having you guys.
Thank you so much.
As a suggestion, start talking to the physical therapy folks in the area.
So
Start bringing you clientele, people who've already been injured from using the improper wear, send them to your door.
So we actually have already partnered up with a chiropractor, a podiatrist, and a physical therapist in the county. We provided them with rack cards with some information on why it's good to get a proper gait analysis. And one of them actually came in and watched us go through the whole procedure with somebody, said, great, took a stack of business cards, and my neighbor was actually at that chiropractor, took a picture and said, they're promoting you out here, so I know we're doing a good job. People were being referred to us through those doctors' offices. They have confidence and trust in us and that we're doing it the right way. And that's such a nice stamp on what we're doing.
Steve, do you have plans for any other shops or just the one in Westminster?
No, we'd like to grow. We've sort of looked at some spots in other areas. First, it's just going to be a matter of growing this. I still have another full-time job. As much as I would love this and believe in this, and I have an unbelievable wife, I've got a family and 2 kids. I just don't know what this is going to be. It's still so new. I want to let it grow. So I work every night, every weekend there, and then I have a couple of staff that I already have employed there that follow my techniques and make sure they're doing it right.
Dave, you have one more question, very quick.
Yeah, I mean, I know, personally, customer service is how you win and keep your customers. Are you charging for that customization that I saw in your application where, hey, we're not just your box store, you're on the treadmill, we're doing analysis, and we're doing that for free because we want you to be our customer?
No, we are not charging for any of the gait analysis. That's a free thing, and we're hoping that will help draw people in the door, knowing that we're going to do it right, especially knowing that
that's all we have
they're
time
not
for,
going to save
Steve.
any money going elsewhere.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Give Steve a round of applause.
Thanks.
He is good.
All right, our next finalist, or should I say finalists, plans to open Carroll's first fiber mini mill to process sheep wool and alpaca fleece into a variety of yarns and other fiber products. Please join me in welcoming the Farquhar family to the stage, the entrepreneurs behind M-Cube Fiber Mill.
We got to get set up here, figure out who's got the remote, working it out here.
Which one am I choosing? This one?
We're technically challenged.
Hi, everybody. My name is Terry Farquhar, and this is my husband, Jim Farquhar, and my daughter, Rebecca Farquhar, and together with my 2 other daughters who aren't here, we will be M-Cubed Fiber Mill. We will be the only wool and fleece processing mill in Carroll County. We will take this raw wool right here, and turn that into something like that. Fiber processing business is a very good fit for us. My oldest daughter, Rebecca, is an avid knitter, and she's an expert in different fiber products. And my middle daughter, Jessica, she is a sheep expert. She knows a lot about sheep. And Carmen, she just loves to be around the animals. We decided to start our fiber mill operation recently after we purchased some sheep and found that there are only 3 mills in the whole state, and none of them are in Carroll County. So with that, I will pass it on to Jim, and he can give you some more details.
We're getting there. So the market for processing fiber here in Carroll County is absolutely huge. What we found out was across the state of Maryland, over 98,000 pounds of wool was harvested last year. Here in Carroll County alone, over 19,000 pounds was harvested. Carroll County leads the state in harvesting wool. You know, we set the bar, but like my wife pointed out, there's only 3 processing or mills here in Maryland, none of them here in Carroll County. So even though we lead the state in growing wool, even though we lead the state in having sheep, we lead the state in sending that out to be processed and for someone else to gain that money. We aim to change that. When we started looking at what's within a 100-mile radius of Carroll County, we saw that 48% of all the wool in Maryland happens within 100 miles of Carroll County. And then we started looking at our competition. And what we saw was of the 3 mills that are out here in Maryland, only 2 of them are processing wool. The other one just does alpaca. And then we started talking to them. We found out that they have backlogs of 12, 18 weeks. And we said, wow, that's a long time. And so we saw the opportunity in there. Next one. These are the machines that we're looking to purchase. When you look at them, you know, they're just regular machines, and you know, there's a couple more that didn't make the cut. But they're computer controlled. So the jobs that we're looking to bring here to Carroll County, they're going to be some technology jobs. They're going to be guys that are running mills, but they're computer controlled. So these aren't folks that are just out there hitting the button. These are folks that are dynamically changing software to create different types of yarn, different types of roving, different types of batting. And this is what actually started it all. These are the sheep that we went out. This is what made us come up with the name. We had the sheep and we said, well, that's really cool. And that's really what led into the fun of what it is that we want to do. Next slide. The sheep are really cool, I'm just saying. The business plan, so when Terry and I started out, we had this great idea. We're gonna have a farm, we're gonna process stuff, we're gonna have people coming to get an education, but then we learned that we needed to phase that in because you can't have it all at once. And so when we came up with our business plan, it's gonna be in a few different phases. We're in that first phase right now, the planning phase. Because what I've learned over the years is having a good solid plan initially, that's where you want to be. The second phase is the initial production, and then that last phase, that's where we plan to expand it. And that's where we have those educational opportunities. That's where we're going to have 9 to 10 folks working for us. That's where we're going to have the rolling hills that we're looking for. And that's also where we aim to have the capacity to process all of the wool that Carroll County generates.
I pride myself in saying that I'm from Carroll County, and our business is going to build on the agricultural history from this county, and we're going to use cutting-edge technology to bring that all together. And we are very proud to be able to service those fiber farmers in our county that are having to ship everything out of the county when we can just keep it in Carroll County and keep the business here going and incorporating all the different local businesses in with ours when we eventually open our storefront in the 3rd phase. Thank you very much.
Let's give a round of applause.
What is the typical price per pound you can get for wool or alpaca?
What we're looking at right now is across the nation, and you know, for the 3 mills we'll be competing with, they're getting about $25 a pound for that finished product. What we're seeing is our cost to process it less than $10. So a customer sends us the raw material to process. We put about $10 of labor, the cost of the equipment, the utilities, and at the back
What's the
end,
cost
we're
of the
selling it for
equipment?
$25.
What's the cost of the equipment?
The cost of the equipment, we're looking at about $154,000 right now.
Will you purchase that or lease that?
We're looking to purchase it, and we're looking to recapitalize it in under 8 years. We're actually looking to have a second line up and running within 24 months in that expansion phase. And once we have that second line running, we think that's when we can knock down all the wool that's being produced here in Carroll County and bring some value to the local farmers.
It's all on your property?
No, we're actually looking to move it. After talking to the Carroll County business folks, they said, Jim, you're already building yourself into a small space. You're going to have to expand. Why not start off with expansion in mind? So we're looking at a warehouse. It's not romantic, but we're looking at a warehouse over here by Century High.
What's the acquisition cost of the wool? Is it $10 is what you put into it for processing?
There are different ways to acquire the wool. We can go to farmers individually, and usually, people will pay about $25 a pound to process the wool and return, a finished product. But there are also other venues of acquiring the wool, such as like a wool pool that they have every year, where people who have no desire to keep the wool will bring it and sell it at ridiculously low price, like maybe $1 a pound, if that. And then that would be our opportunity to take that and maybe start producing our line of yarn. But right now we're just thinking about processing it for other people at this first phase.
How do you market this product?
Carroll County's in a great location. When you look at some of the venues that happen around us, we've got the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival that happens right over in Howard County. It's a regional draw. It brings folks in there. So that's one marketing venue. Yeah, 100.
It brought in over 50,000 people last year.
Yeah. So the Carroll County, the Maryland Wool Festival is one of those venues. There's also sheep magazines. It's kind of a nuanced thing, all right? Sean, you can laugh. But there's sheep magazines, for folks that are into sheep. Not that weird way, all right? Not that weird way. For folks that have sheep that are into processing wool, there's magazines out there, and really we're looking at about 4 national publications. So in addition to processing wool here in Carroll County, we do plan to advertise in those those national publications at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival and at the 4-H here locally.
Sorry. There's also blogs that are dedicated just to knitting and fiber arts, and a lot of people will buy their own raw material at these festivals and look for businesses to turn it into their own finished product that they want, like a special kind of yarn or felt or something like that. So that would be another way to market.
What are your business backgrounds?
I've been a military wife for 22 years, but throughout those years, I've been all kinds of things: bookkeeper, office administrator, you name it, I've done it, and I'll let him speak for himself. So
I've got about 21 years in the military, and thank you. See a couple folks. But what that's really taught me is the essence of planning. It doesn't really matter if you're planning an invasion of a small country, Iraq, or opening up a business. There's a lot of detailed planning. There's some bad jokes. There's a lot of detailed planning that goes on, and that's why we're really focusing in on that initial planning phase. Because I think businesses fail not because they're bad ideas, but they just fail to plan. And so I think the strength that Terry and I bring, her administrative background and my planning background, I think it brings something unique to the business.
That's all we have time for. Thank you guys so much. Alrighty, we are at the stage where we are going to be voting, and we are going to try to speed this along. So I ask, there we go. Man, he read my mind back there. So you have an index card that you received. And please write the number on the card for the person that you are voting for. If you have bad handwriting, take an extra 2 seconds and really make it clear. So I won't bother reading this to you, so please vote now and drop your card in the voting box in the lobby. Our intermission will be slightly abbreviated, so just listen to our friend Chris. He'll give you the cue to head on back in here. Thank you guys, and let's give our finalists one round of applause. I forgot that. I'm in such a hurry to get this done. So thank you guys, see you soon, vote, and when we come back will be our award presentations.